Did you ever want to grow up to be a true dragon, but your dreams were dashed because you were born as the wrong species? Have you ever felt second best to your obnoxious cousins who seem to get all the attention no matter what accomplishments you bring to the family reunion? Are you so aggressively toxic that people actively seek you out to profit off your venom? If you answered yes to one or more of these questions, you, my friend, might be a wyvern. Welcome back to a Compendium of Monsters. It's Wyvern Week. Before we continue, stab that subscribe button and let it bleed out. Find your happy place. But your subscription to my channel helps me out a lot. Wyverns are challenge level 6, and it's unfortunate they weren't held back a level, as they are not smarter than a 5th grader. These large dragons have an armor class of 13, average hit points of 110, a speed of 20 feet that I guarantee they almost never use considering their flying speed is 80 feet, and dark vision out to 60 feet. Wyverns have a basic multi-attack that is written as bitey stabby, which is funny considering their written preference of attacks is slashy stabby. There are some issues here. Optimal wyvern attacks are a bite and stinger attack, as both have a range of 10 feet. A wyvern's claw attack, however, has to be made within 5 feet for an almost negligible increase in damage that then exposes the wyvern to melee attacks and allows for the possibility of opportunity attacks should the wyvern not disengage. A wyvern's bite and claw damage is reasonable for a challenge level 6 creature with a strength score of 19, thanks mostly to its murderously toxic tail. Upon getting stabbed, a creature takes approximately 11 piercing damage and has to make a constitution saving throw against an average of 24 poison damage on a failed save, or half on a success. Given that they're the less loved cousins of real dragons, wyverns have no abilities. However, I'd argue that wyverns should at least have the flyby ability, which would allow the wyvern to avoid opportunity attacks when flying out of melee range. Not sure about your party, but this tactic would absolutely elicit the coveted "aw, you" from my players. A badge of pride for DMs everywhere. It's interesting that the name wyvern is not intuitive to pronounce, at least according to my brief Google search. It seems the main issue is that there's no obvious H between the W and the Y. Why is that? Because English and your expectations. You can say wyvern, some people choose to say wyvern, but we're all overthinking this. Just have your character look in the direction of the approaching creature and say, It could be a wyvern, a wyvern, or anything on a long list of creatures that evoke dread when they approach you. Panic happens to be a universal language. Wyverns have a problematic description in the monster manual, but it's not like I have a life, I'll just unpack everything. Wyverns live in the same areas as their superior draconic cousins, as far as hunting in the same forests and even caverns. No, they definitely don't if they want to live. A metallic dragon might let the wyvern live on the fringes of its territory, but we all know how chromatic dragons feel about sharing. Plus, why would you let your idiot cousin share your home? F*** off, mate. I found this first. A wyvern's poison is potent enough to disintegrate veins and arteries on the way to the heart. First off, something potent enough to dissolve both arteries and veins is probably going to dissolve the flesh around it, which presents the greater danger of bleeding out instead of dying from the poison. Second, arteries and veins aren't thick enough to withstand much disintegration, which would again stop blood flow to the heart. But the most egregious flaw in this sentence is that it represents a fundamental misunderstanding of how the human body works. Arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. Poison in your bloodstream is carried to your heart via veins. I mean, sure, it's possible you could get stabbed in an artery and have the blood carried through to your heart, but you have much bigger problems if your artery is squirting blood out of your body. Despite my ramblings about the danger, there are people dumb enough to seek out wyverns to try to get some of this poison bottled up for alchemical or assassination purposes. It's worth the risk, it turns out, as the Dungeon Master's Guide lists wyvern poison's worth at a base price of 1,200 gold. It's probably worth a lot more given several factors. The obvious danger involved in obtaining it, the poison can only be obtained from a dead or incapacitated wyvern, the high demand, low supply market, and the fact that wyvern poison is a black market item. Any commoner exposed to the poison is instantly dead, as are most guards and nobles. Wyverns don't normally fight on the ground unless they can't reach their prey from the air or they've been fooled into a position where aerial combat isn't an option. Can they be fooled into disadvantageous footing? Absolutely. Wyverns have an intelligence score of 5, which is a -3. They're about as dumb as pet rocks, but at least pet rocks have endearing qualities. Wyverns are still dangerous in melee combat, so don't f*** about. As a total surprise, wyverns are intelligent enough to flee combat if they're seriously injured. Wyverns can also be distracted from a current target if easier prey happens along. Wyverns is described as being more intelligent than ordinary beasts, but less intelligent than their draconic cousins. To put that into perspective, the only time a wyvern is as intelligent as a dragon is when compared to a white dragon wormling. White dragons are the Kardashians of real dragons. Idiots, but good at filling their niche. All the other dragon wormlings, literal dragon babies, are at least twice as intelligent as wyverns. Forget 5th graders, wyverns aren't smarter than babies. DMs, it's pretty easy to fight your party with a wyvern. Wyverns throw themselves at the party member who looks easiest to kill and is furthest from the group. With their ridiculously effective damage, wyverns can easily take out casters in a couple rounds of combat. A wyvern's 80-foot flying speed is nearly 3 times the speed most player characters can move, which allows it to easily harass any of your players not tightly grouped with the others. If you can, have the wyvern flee when it hits 25% of its maximum hit points. Let it rest up and possibly pursue that party later at full hit points. Or you could let your players see it in the distance during their next travel session, carrying a dead cow or horse. Lastly, if your players just melt the wyvern, throw in another one. It's reasonable to assume wyverns live in mated pairs, which could quickly turn an easy encounter into a difficult one. Players! Fighting wyverns is tricky if your armor class is lower than 18, as the wyvern has a +7 to hit with all of its attacks. Having an AC of 18 gives the wyvern a 50% chance to hit or miss with its attacks and can help your character mitigate a lot of potential damage. If your constitution score is low, you might not want to fight on the front lines against the wyvern, as its poison is designed to take you apart. Utilize cover and defensive options like the shield spell, the dodge action, or something that uses an intelligence or charisma saving throw to incapacitate or otherwise disable the wyvern. Anyways, what do you all think of wyverns? Do you pronounce it wyvern, wyvern, or ah? Let me know in the comments below. A quick thank you to my patrons. And thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share my video on your Twitter, Facebook, or other social media, and make the leap to become one of my patrons on Patreon. I'll see you all next time.